I know this week you spoke about different cancers. The best thing that we can always do is just best practices for living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy, physical activity, and just trying to live the healthiest life that we really can. One thing that we can do very easily is to incorporate more antioxidant rich foods into our diet. So things like leafy greens are high in antioxidants, green tea, berries. Berries is such an easy one. They're so delicious. So in my recipe today, we're using some berries as this antioxidant rich diet, even some dark chocolate, but real dark chocolate, like, mostly high percent. Those are all foods that are high in antioxidants. And that's just something that we can be cognizant of, making sure that we add more of those into our diet to really just help with all illnesses and diseases, just to make sure that we're getting enough. What these antioxidants are doing is preventing the flow of free radicals. And the free radicals in our body, they attach to our cells basically. And that's what prevents these diseases and illnesses. And so the antioxidants will help to pair up with the free radicals instead of causing cancer and other unwanted illnesses. There's a lot more science to that, but I wanted to keep that really simple for you. Just make sure being cognizant, high antioxidant rich foods, and make sure that we're adding them to our diet every so often.
Making a pasta with loads of vegetables. I guess you could call it like a pasta primavera. This is no meat. So I already have my pasta in. Instead of like doing bit by bit, I actually wanted to do the mixing in front of you. And I started sauteing. I have some zucchini, some squash, some mushrooms in there. I'm going to add some garlic now. And then some salt and pepper. I'm adding the garlic a little bit later just because I didn't want it to burn, and this is just about done. You can see you've got like a nice little shell on it, like a coating, a little crispy coating there. It takes about 10 minutes. I really wanted to show you like the process of putting this together today, just because you have to keep some of the pasta water. And I'm going to add peas just before the pasta is about to be done. I'm going to add the peas in there, right? Because they go in literally for a second, and I don't want to take the color out of the peas. And I'm also going to add the spinach to this right now while the pasta is doing. Spinach goes down to nothing, so I've got a couple of bowls. This is a really good leafy green to have. It's got plenty of vitamins, it's got vitamin K and like all the good stuff.
Yeah, and tons of iron.
Iron.
For people who have low iron, which is pretty common, it's a really good vegetable to make sure we're getting enough of.
I took a little bit of water out of the pasta water because if it's dry, put the pasta water back into it, so it's not like a dry pasta. All right, so I'm going to
love that trick. That's a great trick. It also makes the sauce stick better.
Yeah, you see, I just put my peas in at the last minute, so they stay nice and green as well. Just literally for like 2 seconds, and then we're going to add the veggies that I have, the spinach and the mushrooms and everything else. Let's just pour it all in there, get it in there.
Beautiful.
I'm going to toss it up, and then I'm just put a tiny little bit of water in there because I'm going to put a little bit of cheese in as well. You can put a little bit of olive oil in it as well. So here I have some Parmesan cheese. Obviously, you don't have to use the Parmesan. And I'm also going to put a touch of the Italian seasoning in. Put a sprinkle of this in. I mean, you can use it. You don't have to use it. I just use a touch because I have it. So I'm going to put some Parm cheese. And then the final part here, I'm just going to put some fresh chopped parsley.
Beautiful.
Then you have your really veggie pasta, and really it tastes good. So I'm going to show you my after. I plated everything. Here's the pasta plate with all the good stuff on it. And also I just made a plain salad. Sometimes it's back to the basics. I used arugula. I had baby arugula in the refrigerator, and I didn't want to do anything fancy today. I just did lettuce, tomatoes and onion with a little light spray of avocado oil. And also you can add the lemon with a little bit of salt, pepper, and I got a little bit of oregano on there. And my water of the week for the antioxidants that we need is blackberries and raspberries.
This week brought to you by berries.
Use this as like a after dinner, like for yourself. I wouldn't make this in like a big type of like serving dish. So I'm using these little like single serve bowls. And so it's a really nice thing to put in here. If you're having like a few guests over, or if you're just making it for yourself or your family, it's a really good dessert. So I have one of these little bowls here. And then what I'm going to do is you can use whatever berries you want. I'm using a mix of strawberry, blackberries, and blueberries. I actually love raspberries, but I couldn't find raspberries. So I sliced my strawberries. You want them sliced. So I have some strawberries there. Then I have some blueberries and blackberries. I don't love blackberries, but the color looks so nice.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
And then what we're going to do is we are going to make a little nut date mixture that goes on top of it. So there's like a nice gooiness from the dates, but there's also some crunch from the nuts. So I'm using pecans and walnuts, which I had crushed. I put them there in a Ziploc bag because I crushed them myself because they charge more for crushed nuts. So I have my walnuts here. So I'm going to sprinkle that on top like this. I made this yesterday and like it's addicting. Like it's so good. And there's really so many nutrients here, right? Get our healthy fats in there. Then I have some pecans. So I happen to love walnuts and pecans. I love the mix of it. And again, just like a really healthy thing. So we have all of that together in there. And then we're going to have our dates. So the dates, there's a lot of fiber in here, tons of fiber. There's really nice like sweetness. It adds a different texture to this dessert as well, but the color goes really nicely. So we have some dates. I don't put a ton of it in there because they do make it pretty sweet and the berries alone are sweet. And by the way, if your berries are not sweet, add a tiny bit of maple syrup to them just to kind of like bring out their sweetness. Not a lot, like honestly, a tiny, tiny drop. Just mix it and it will help bring out that sweetness. But the dates here will do the same thing for the
dates are so magical. They're
so
so great.
I just love dates. Everything about this dessert is just so good. So I put this here. You still see the berries on the bottom. Obviously, it's like a darker cup, but if you use something more clear, it looks very pretty. And then because it's a dessert, we're using some whipped cream and I'm using plain in the can whipped cream because whipped cream has absolutely nothing in it. You can definitely make your own whipped cream, but there is really no reason not to use a little bit of whipped cream. There's really nothing in it. There's nothing like there are some additives, which is what people are probably like, why you shouldn't just eat an entire can of it. But using a little bit, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, especially for a dessert.
We've talked a couple of times about when you have those sugar cravings at night. This is the kind of thing. It's like if you're eating some whipped cream,
it's really not going to boost your sugar. There's less than 1 gram of sugar in here. That's not ruining your blood sugars by any means. Then the last thing we're going to do is if you're ever going to zest a lemon or an orange, you want to make sure it's washed really, really well. But just for a little bit of taste and color, we're going to just zest an orange a little bit here. This is more for just the color of it, I think, more than the taste. And that is it.